Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. We're joined by Alfie from the Everton Now YouTube channel. Top lad Alfie, top Everton channel as well. Definitely go over there and subscribe to those lads. The link is in the description down below. Fantastic content, watch-alongs, reactions, little video of James Rodriguez playing Call of Duty, which I decided to sit there and watch James playing Call of Duty on Twitch for about an hour the other night, even though I didn't understand a word of it because it was in Spanish. I was just waiting for him to say something about Everton Football Club. So definitely go and subscribe to Everton Now on YouTube. Link is in the description. Thought we'd sit down today and talk about the rumours surrounding Max Aarons and Everton being interested in a summer move for Max Aarons, as well as a little bit of Derby talk, because yes, I'm not willing to allow the Derby to just go yet. I'm not willing to forget about it. We don't play now till Monday. It was the best time to beat Liverpool because, you know, over the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks or so, we've been playing Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. So it's all, you know, very much been moving on quickly from wins and defeats and stuff. Whereas this one is so sweet because we don't play now till Monday, so we can sit here and milk it continuously for as long as we want. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I'll probably still sit here and milk it after Monday because I've never seen that happen in my lifetime. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Derby as well. But I thought we'd speak about Max Aarons. Obviously, we done the live stream yesterday talking about the stadium news, which is massive, of course, brilliant news surrounding Liverpool City Council approving Everton's planning application for the new stadium at Bramley-Moore docks, as well as granting the planning permission for the new regeneration project at Goodison Park and L4. Of course, that isn't the end of that sort of saga. It still has to go to various other places and people for them to sort of give the agreement on it, but it is a massive step forward in the future of our football club, and it was a historic day. So we sat here and we done the live stream yesterday. We went through the whole timeline of the meeting and you know, the different councillors and what they had to say regarding the stadium project, and we done an in-depth live stream. So a big thanks to everybody that joined us for that one. Really do appreciate it. The live stream was absolutely fantastic. It's had loads of support, so I just want to say a massive thank you. But during that live stream, I went onto Twitter to have a look at the stadium timeline and just to make sure I got everything right, and it was put out there by Fabrizio Romano, who of course is a very reliable source, that Everton are interested in Max Aarons as a potential target for the next transfer window in the summer. He is on the list as Ancelotti is looking for a new right back. Bayern Munich have already opened talks with Norwich to sign Aarons, and Man United have scouted him too. So like I said, this pretty much did come out the blue because we were talking about the stadium. We had the live stream about the stadium, and I went onto Twitter and I seen it and I thought someone's on the wind up there, but then it was actually Fabrizio Romano's account himself. Now, it is just a rumour, Alfie, at the moment. It is just a statement as to say that Everton are interested in Max Aarons. Obviously, we know Max Aarons has got a fantastic relationship with Ben Godfrey. Both played together at Norwich, both best friends, I believe, constantly tweeting at each other and putting social media posts up about each other. Max Aarons frequently comments on Ben Godfrey's, you know, posts after Everton have played or Everton have won and congratulating him, etc. So what did you think about this? Obviously, when it first come about, when you first seen the rumour, when you first sort of read it from Fabrizio Romano, I suppose firstly, is Max Aarons a player that you'd like to bring in the summer? Is he someone that you think we should be aiming to sign?
Yeah, I reckon it'll be a boss signing for us. Yes, maybe 40 million, 30 million too much, but if you look at it for the long term, it'll be boss. Because he's only like 21, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still quite young. Yeah, he's in and around.
He's around Ben Godfrey's age, isn't he? So I reckon he'll be a boss signing for us. This is what we need, a right back. Even though Seamus did put in an amazing performance against the Red Shite, but you know, I just think Max Aarons will be boss.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Max Aarons is a player that Evertonians have been looking at for a long time. Certainly when you assess the current squad and you look at where we need to improve. And I completely agree, by the way, mate. I think Seamus Coleman was unbelievable the other day. Flashbacks to the Seamus Coleman of 5 or 10 years ago, where he was just unbelievable up and down that right-hand side, defending really well. Obviously, he had that headed chance, which I just don't think I'd be here if he scored it, because I think the emotion would have just completely had me off. But I agree. I think right back is one of those positions that we need to be addressing in the summer, potentially even right winger as well. So it was a little bit mad when we saw the rumour yesterday. I don't know what you thought when Fabrizio Romano tweeted it out.
It was quite it was quite like shocking
Yeah.
because we've just only finished with the transfer window, and I didn't expect any news until like say around June or July for the summer. But it looks like we might be getting them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think shocking is probably the right word to use, not only because I didn't expect it because of the stadium stuff, but also because Max Adams is a name that I think has been on Evertonians' radar for a long time, but I haven't really necessarily looked at him as a name that's on Everton's radar because of the price that he'd cost and because of the fact that, you know, look at that rumour, teams like Bayern Munich, Manchester United are interested. I always thought he was just a name that, as a fan base, we thought, why don't we go out and sign Max Adams? He's best mates with Ben Godfrey. He's played in the Premier League, he's got experience, this, that and the other. But I always thought the club would be more like, no, you know what, we're going to focus on other targets who'd cost a lot less, who aren't as much in the limelight, if you like, in English football, and be able to come in and do a similar job. Obviously, we've been linked with a lot of right backs. Everton Botches in the comments mentioned Zeki Selleck, who was linked as well in the January transfer window. So when it was put out there by Fabrizio Romano, I thought, maybe we are actually interested in bringing in Max Adams. It's clear Carlo Ancelotti wants to target that right back position. He's mentioned it before as well. It'll be interesting. Firstly, I suppose let's talk about if we do manage to bring Max Adams into the football club, if he does sign, or in fact any other right back, because that sort of puts a spanner in the works, doesn't it, mate? Because at the moment we've got a back line of just as a whole of Luca Dean, Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate, Seamus Coleman, Michael Keane and Yerry Mina. So there's 6 players I've just mentioned there. 4 of them are guaranteed to play. Sometimes 5 of them will play if we play a different formation. So you've got Seamus, Luca Dean, Ben Godfrey, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, Seamus Coleman. If we bring Max Adams into that equation, then it's difficult, because I don't want to say where does he fit in, because it's very obvious he fits in at right back and he becomes the number 1 right back. And I've sat here on a number of occasions when we've lost games of football or when we haven't performed well and said we need a right back. We need a right back who is like Luca Dean was when he come in to replace Leighton Baines, so that Seamus Coleman can be allowed to drop down onto the bench, play the odd cup game, come on when he needs to, but primarily he isn't the starting right back week in, week out. Obviously, this is all extremely difficult to say when we've just beaten Liverpool for the first time in 22 years at Anfield, and every single one of those defenders has put in a top-class performance. But this season, we've seen Mason Holgate play at right back. We've seen Ben Godfrey play at right back. So I suppose if we were to sign Max Adams or any other right back, mate, where would the rest of the defenders fit in your view? What would the rest of the back line look like?
It's quite difficult, because he has played with Ben Godfrey, of course, but would you stick him next to him in the centre-half position and then play Michael Keane or Yerry Mina? But the other side of it, would you play Michael Keane and Yerry Mina and put Ben Godfrey at left back, and then put Lucas as a left mid? But where would you personally fit him?
See, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think
And then we've got the likes. We've got the likes of Mason Holgate and all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we've all sort of come to the sad conclusion, and it is a sad conclusion, because Seamus Coleman is an Everton legend in my eyes. I mean, every single one of those players. Listen, I'll probably sit here in 2 weeks and criticise a Jordan Pickford performance for a bad, mistake he's made, or I'll probably criticise, a Gylfi Sigurdsson performance, etc. But every single one of those lads on Saturday is an Everton hero to me, because I've never felt that emotion. I'm still feeling that emotion from Saturday. If you watch yesterday's live stream, I nearly broke down in tears because I just couldn't handle the stadium and the derby win and all of that sort of stuff. So every single one of those players is an Everton hero now, for me anyway, because they've just done something that no other Everton team has done in 22 years. Seamus Coleman being the height of that sort of heroism or heroism, whatever the word is, because he's been such a loyal servant, he's been such a fantastic player for Everton, he's been he's just been the focal point, hasn't he, of Everton Football Club. He's a great role model, he's a great ambassador for the club, he's just brilliant. And I think we all have come to the sad conclusion that it may be time for Seamus to drop down and have less of a prominent role in the first team, potentially maybe coming off the bench or playing in some cup games, etc, etc. But that's fair enough. If we were sitting here and Seamus Coleman was playing right back every week, and we were saying, right, we're interested in a new right back, maybe Max Adams, I'd say, right, okay, Seamus drops down, Max Adams becomes the number 1, brilliant. But like you've said, you've then got Mason, you've got Ben Godfrey, you've got Yerry Mina, Michael Keane. If you're playing so if we're signing a right back then this right back is going to start week in, week out, because otherwise why would we pay 20, 25, 30 million pounds, whatever, for a right back if he's not going to play? We wouldn't do that. So then you're looking at the rest of the team and you think, right, okay, Seamus drops down, which is understandable and we all have sort of accepted. But where does Mason Holgate fit in? Where does Ben Godfrey then fit in? Because then you've then got 3 other places to fill, and you've got Luca Dean, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate, 5 players for 3 positions there effectively. You've got Luca Dean, who's the best left back in the country for me. And yes, okay, maybe he can be pushed forward a little bit. Which you know could potentially work, but then you look at jeopardising potentially Richarlison's position, and what happens when Richarlison, James and Dominic Calvert-Lewin and all fit? Where does Luca Dean fit in as a forward player? Then you've got the centre back headache, which is mad for me, because you've got Michael Keane and Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey, who have been absolutely exceptional for 99% of the season, and then you've got Mason, who's been absolutely exceptional for 98% of the season. He's probably had a couple more poor games than the rest of them have, but it's very, very difficult to pick between those 4 players as to who sort of sits in the centre-back position, isn't it? Because you look at it and you've got Yerry Mina, who's been unbelievable recently, obviously picked up an injury now, but before that, absolutely exceptional. Michael Keane, who for me has arguably been our player of the season. Ben Godfrey, who I can't imagine seeing an Everton team sheet without Ben Godfrey's name in. He's just excellent. And Mason, who's just pocketed, Sadio Mane. Whatever you think about him, he's still one of the best wingers in the league. So the point is, Alfie, I suppose we're both trying to make is it's going to be a headache for Carlo Ancelotti, isn't it? If we do manage to bring in a right back, I suppose. I want to ask you another question as well. Given the resurgence and the growth of the likes of Ben Godfrey and Mason as a defender, and the improvement of Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, whereas at the start of the season you might have said right back is a necessity, do you still think it is now?
I think we still need it, but the question is, would the likes of Mason Holgate want to sit on the bench?
That's it.
It'll be boss, like Scott Death for the team, but does he honestly want first team football week in, week out? We don't know, so Carlo will have to question him about. I think it'll be boss for Max Allen to play right back fully. It depends who plays centre half. And I think next season we should play like a 4-4-2 and put Richie up top now, because he's banging in the goals again.
Yeah. And
we do not want to knock his confidence down like last time, playing him on the wing, because he's much better playing centrally with Dom. So I reckon if we do that, I reckon we should play Ben behind Lucas.
Okay.
And then put Lucas as a left mid. But it depends with Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, who plays that number 1 centre half spot, and who would you play as your second centre half?
See, it's difficult, mate. It's mad because well, going off what you said, if Ben Godfrey's playing left back, it'd be Mina and Keane and Mason would just miss out. Because I think Yerry Mina and Michael Keane have had a partnership this season that has just grown massively. They seem to understand each other so much on the pitch. They understand each other's strengths, each other's weaknesses, and they've got an excellent partnership. I actually agree with what you said there, Alfie. I think we'll see a formation change next season. I don't think we'll see the typical 4-3-3. I think we could see an awful lot more of James playing in the number 10 role or behind the striker, and I think we could see a lot more of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison playing as a front 2. I suppose, and again, listen, it's options for Carlo Ancelotti. You can look at this 2 ways. You can think Carlo's got a headache on his hands to decide which formation and which players he plays, or you could look at it and think, well, Carlo's got options. One week he could play 1 up front with James in the 10, the next week he could play 2 up front with maybe James having a rest. There's options there. Like I said, it'd be very difficult to put James Rodriguez in the 10 and then play 2 up front with Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, because then you'd have no wide players unless you played your fullbacks as really attacking fullbacks. And maybe that's why we're looking at somebody like a Max Allen to come in, because the theory is that we'll play Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front, and then the fullbacks will be the ones that bomb on down the wings, or maybe Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison will go that way and they'll create sort of wide space, and James will be the one coming through the middle. It's difficult, but there's options, and that's exactly what we're going to need going forward. You know, we've spoke under previous managers numerous times. Alfie, I'm sure you have, you know, during your life of being an Evertonian, is that there's never a plan B. You know, if our plan A gets found out, that's it. We may as well not turn up, because there's never a plan B. Whereas with Carlo, there seems to be a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan E, a plan F. There seems to be a lot of plans and a lot of ways in which to change this side around, and they don't always work. Granted, they don't always work, but there's a lot of different formations and styles and tactics that we've used this season that have worked. But I do, mate, I think it's really, really interesting, because I think we've got and let us know in the live comments. By the way, we will get in the comments in a moment. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out Alfie Everton now in the description down below. As well, don't forget to check out Football News 365. They are kindly sponsoring this video. Absolutely unbelievable football app. You can download it through the link in the description for all of your latest Everton news, scores, fixtures, updates, all of that good stuff. Like I said, I've just been sitting there looking at the Derby score for about the last 3 days, just because I don't want to let it go. But no, yeah, like I said, you can download that in using the link in the description. Really, really would appreciate that. It would help out the channel a lot as well. But no, I think you're right. I think if we are looking to bring in a right back, and I think we should be, to be honest, because I think at times when we've maybe played a 4 at the back, don't get me wrong, I think Mason's been very good this season at right back. Certainly when we played that low block, I mean, those 4 centre backs across the back line when Luca Dean was out injured were exceptional, absolutely exceptional. Not one of them put a foot wrong for 3 or 4 games that they played in there. When we've had to play a little bit more attacking and a little bit more expansive, it maybe hasn't worked so much. But ultimately, it's options, isn't it? And I suppose out of those 5 players, Luca Dean, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, Mason Holgate, Ben Godfrey and Seamus Coleman, if we did sign Max Aarons per se, then I think we'd all sort of agree that Seamus would drop out. And again, you know, he's an Everton legend, and it kills me to say it, but it's probably about time now, even though he was exceptional in the derby, and I wouldn't be against him starting on Monday against Southampton. Who else comes out then? Let's say we have to take one of the others out and we just play a back 4. Would it be Mason for you? It probably would be Mason for me, just because I think that the other 3 are just a level above.
Probably, I quite agree with you with Mason dropping out. So I just want to add something and all. If we play a 4-4-2, Hammers plays anywhere. He'll probably play on the right leg, but he'll come in centrally anyway. Where would Alex Iwobi fit? He was 35 million, or he'll be a good squad player.
That's it.
Like, all of these players are improving under Carlo, like Tom Davis, the Scouse Perlo, I call him, Alex Iwobi. All of these players are improving. That was crap last season. Yeah. So it's a difficult decision what Carlo's under. So
that's it. No, I agree, and you've just named one there, Tom Davis, Alfie, and you're absolutely spot on, mate. Like I just completely, and I want to talk about Tom Davis. I want to talk about 3 players. Well, 4. I want to talk about Tom Davis, Jordan Pickford, Richarlison, and my mind's gone blank, Ben Godfrey. When we talk about the Merseyside derby in a moment, as well as everybody else. But you're absolutely spot on there, mate, about Tom Davis. You know, we're looking at a team here and we're talking about bringing Max Aarons in and moving the defence about a bit, and I think we've all, and probably everyone in the comments listening, has probably just gone, right, we don't need to look at centre midfield because that'll be Decore and Alan, and then you bring in Tom Davis, who's been, you know, absolutely unbelievable recently, absolutely unbelievable. And that sort of brings in another sort of spanner to the equation. So look, I don't think it's an issue because it's squad depth, it's rotation. We will get in the comments in a moment. Tom T Logic, what's happening, mate? Thank you very much for joining us, Tom. He says, Alfie talking very well. Ancelotti loves rotation and wants players who can play in different systems. Be surprised if Coleman leaves with 1 year left on his contract. Yeah, I don't think he'll leave. I think he'll just drop down as to sort of like Baines did in 2018 when Luca Dean come in, and he sort of maybe plays the odd cup game, maybe comes off the bench when needed, but he's not reliant on starting week in, week out, and I think Seamus would probably accept that. But like you said, there's a lot of different options there for Carlo Ancelotti, not just with the defence, but if you're changing the defence about, like I said, with an option has become apparent in recent weeks where Luca Dean plays as a attacking player. Well, then Luca Dean plays as an attacking player. Where does Alex Iwobi fit in? Like you said, who's been very good recently, probably does drop out because he hasn't been as good as what Luca Dean can produce. But then you look at the central midfield and you think, right, well then you've got, out of the central midfielders, you've got Alan Decore, Tom Davies, and we'll include James because he probably does just sort of float about there. Who of those do you take out? Who of those can be taken out? I'd love a midfield three of Decore, Alan and Tom Davies, to be honest. I'd love to see that for the rest of the season. Decore, Alan, Tom Davies, James, Richarlison and DCL up front. But then you've got to go with a flat back four, and then you're looking at, right, okay, so Luca Dean's in there because he's Luca Dean and he's excellent going forward. Mason, Ben, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, who else fills those other three places? So it's difficult, but that, I suppose that's what we want, isn't it, Alfie? I mean, we never want to be sitting here saying that's our starting 11 and we know that's going to be it. We want options. We want to be sitting here discussing it. We want to be sitting here not knowing what's going to happen, and that's why Carlo's in the job, isn't he? Because he's going to know which players are there for which games.
Definitely. Here's another name, Gylfi Sigurdsson. He's had a much better season and all this season. Last season he was awful. Yeah. Yes, he's been awful sometimes this season, but not as awful as last season. Yeah. So there's another name.
Exactly, 13 goal contributions I think he's on this year, and like I said, for me, listen, Gylfi Sigurdsson's an Everton hero for me. He's turned up at Anfield, he's slotted a penalty without even looking. He's literally turned and looked at the bench as if to say, you're watching this now, and he's slotted it and we've won the game. So
ice cool,
mate, absolutely ice cool. And Gylfi Sigurdsson goes in there as well for a part of that team that ultimately are heroes to me, because I'll still remember them, even if we go on and beat Liverpool every year now for the next 10 years, which again, I don't think we will. Touch wood, we do, but I don't think we will. That Everton team is still the team that got over that hoodoo, that got over that massive weight on their back of not beating them for that long. So yeah, I suppose with the Max Adams stuff then, one other thing I want to say, we will move into the comments in a moment. Massive thanks to everybody for joining us again, really do appreciate it. The support's unbelievable. I understand that it's 12:15 on a Wednesday and you've probably all got a lot else to do, so massive thank you. Like I said, if you're enjoying, leave it a like, don't forget to subscribe as well. We did talk about the stadium yesterday. If you're wondering, if you're thinking why aren't you talking about the stadium, we done a live stream yesterday talking about it. You can check that out on the channel now. Leave your thoughts in the comments of that one, and we will get involved with that. But I suppose the last sort of part on the Max Allen stuff, Alfie, is that with the rumour from Fabrizio Romano, he also says, which made me not get so excited. I think I seen the first sentence, Everton interested in Max Adams, and my head nearly fell off. But the last sentence was Bayern Munich have already opened talks with Norwich to sign Adams, and this is what made me sort of think, right, okay, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here, because obviously Bayern Munich, European champions, unbelievable side, got some of the world's best players. Not sure where they are in the German league at the moment, but I assume probably up top. Somebody will be able to tell us in the comments. Maybe Alfie. I don't keep up to date with the German league. But as soon as I read that sentence, Bayern Munich have open talks with Norwich, I thought, right, okay, Norwich. I don't think Norwich will be against selling Max Adams to Everton. I think if Everton offered the same bid or a better bid than Bayern, then they'd look at Everton. Obviously, I think Everton and Norwich have got a decent relationship transfer wise, but I suppose this falls on the player, doesn't it? And if Max Adams is looking at this situation and he's thinking, right, obviously there's been a history certainly recently of young English players going over to the Bundesliga and doing well. We've saw Jadon Sancho go over there from Manchester City. Obviously, we've had a couple. We've had John Joe Kenny goes to Schalke, done okay. We had Ademola Lookman go over to Leipzig when he was still at Everton on loan and really impressed there to the point where they signed him. So do you think that'll be, do you sort of think Max Adams himself might think, you know what, European champions, one of the best teams in the world, interested in me, I'll go there? Or do you? I had this conversation yesterday with one of my friends, and he said maybe Max Adams will look at it and think, no, I want to stay in England, I'm more comfortable here, I've got one of my best friends in Ben Godfrey at Everton, I want to go and reunite with him, I want to play in the Premier League again, that's me passion. I suppose that's something that none of us know the answer to, but Bayern being interested is a massive pulling factor, isn't it?
Listen, there's options to it and all.
Yeah.
Bayern can secure you like 100% Europe every season.
Yeah.
I don't think they've got a right back currently. Well, they have, but like they're looking to improve it, obviously, by looking at it. Or do you want to reunite like you said with Ben Godfrey? And the Premier League, don't get me wrong, it's the best league in the world in my opinion, but it all depends on the player, really, doesn't it?
No, absolutely. Like you said, it's preference. It's preference, I suppose. And look, ultimately, if I'm a young player playing in the Championship and Bayern Munich have come in and said, look, we want to sign you, we're interested in signing you, then that's very, very difficult to turn down for me. Very, very difficult. Obviously, me as an Evertonian, if somebody said, Everton are interested as well, I'd phone Bayern Munich and say, see you later, nice one for the incest, I'm not going. But as a non-Evertonian, maybe Max Adams will look at it and think, you know what, as for my career. But again, it's all dependent on him. He might look at it and think playing week in, week out for one of the best teams in the world and playing in the Champions League I'm not ready for that yet. I'd rather go and play another couple of seasons in the Premier League and see where I'm at. He might think this is an opportunity I might never get again, so I'm going to go there and I'm going to take that risk. We don't know. I suppose we don't know, but ultimately, again, Fabrizio Romano come out with it, so I'd take it as quite solid, because Fabrizio Romano is very, very, very reliable. He was one of the only sources that come out and said about Josh King when everybody believed, can't remember who it was, but I think it might have been Jay Bear, come out and said, oh yeah, he's going to Fulham. Fabrizio Romano come out on Instagram and said, no, he's not, he's going to Everton, and everyone sort of went, no, he's going to Fulham, and then he turned around and went to Everton. So he's a very, very reliable source, Fabrizio Romano. He hasn't said Everton have bid for Max Adams. He hasn't said Max Adams is agreed to sign for Everton. He's just said Everton are interested in bringing him in, as they're interested in bringing in a right back. And I'm sure Tom T-Logic in the comments will be able to tell us that Everton have probably got a list of options for right back, and Max Adams probably is on there. And again, I'm surprised, because he hasn't been a player that I've thought we would go for, because I think he will cost an awful lot of money and he is sort of high radar. But I'm not surprised, because he's one of the best young right backs in the country. So if Everton are after a right back and we've got a list, he's probably going to be on it. But the buying stuff is, I'm not going to say it worries me, because it's not the be all and end all if we sign Max Adams or not, but it isn't making me get as excited, if you know what I mean, than it usually will, because buying aren't they? Let's get into the comments then before we go any further. I want to talk about the derby, Alfie, because I know you're itching to continue to talk about it. Gavin says Adams and Bailey would be great signings. I'd like Leon Bailey, but we did have the chance to sign him, I think, last season or the season before, and we didn't, so I'm not too sure whether we'll go back in for him. Alex says Everton are massive, by the way, unbelievably massive, mate, gargantuan. Nil Satis, Nizzy Optimum 1878 is up the F and Toffees is right. Everton watches it. Everton are looking for a new right back. Zeki Selleck and Max Adams are top target. Mehmet Zeki Selleck could be available for 20 to 25 million. They are also other targets. Didn't Zeki Selleck go to Roma, or was he just rumoured to go to Roma? And I'm sure he signed for Roma in the summer.
Really?
I'm sure he did. Let me just quickly Google it before we.
But don't forget, everyone on the stream, there's loads of options for right back. There's Lamptey.
Yeah.
I know Tavernier's 29 or something, but still an experience, even though we don't really want one. But he's younger than Seamus, so would you go for him?
No, I agree.
But Lamptey, he's proven in the Premier League, so would you go for him if Max Adams falls through?
Yeah, it's, again, like you mentioned, there's options there, and Everton will have a list. Everton's list won't just be Max Adams and that's it. Everton will have a list of 15 players, and I'd like to hope this is how it works. I don't know, because I'm not Marcel Brands, but I like to hope Everton's list goes from the top target. They approach them. If they say no, they go down to number 2. They approach them. If they say no, not bottom to top, not the least to the top. They go from top to, and they keep going until they find somebody that is interested. Just on Zeki Selleck before I will answer about Lamptey, he didn't go to Roma. He's still at Lille, so maybe that fell through. There was strong rumours he was going to Roma. Listen, I think you've brought up a brilliant shout there about Lamptey, mate. I think he's a very, very, very good player. One thing I would say is he plays a lot of his football in a 5 at the back formation as a wing back, if I'm not mistaken. Which is an option again for Carlo Ancelotti. If he brings in him, then that's an option to play him and Luca Dean as wing backs, and then maybe that would allow Richarlison and Dom to play as a centre forward partnership with Hammers behind them, because you'd have that wide, and it'd also allow another centre half to play next to Keane and Mina. But I'm not going to lie, mate, I just hate the 5 at the back formation. I do. I think when we play 5 at the back, I think Mina, Keane and whoever else that plays next to him, be it Godfrey or Holgate, I don't want to say they don't understand it, but I just think it over confuses everything. I think when there's a nice centre-back partnership, i.e. Mina and Keane, they know what they have to do, they do it well, and like I said, they work off each other's strengths and weaknesses, whereas if there's 3 there, I think they all just sort of get confused a little bit and muddled up with their duties, and like I said, I haven't been a massive fan of it. It's worked, don't get me wrong, it's worked a couple of times this season. Against Fulham away it worked, but I'm just not a massive fan of it. What about you, mate? You know, I suppose Tarek Lamptey's somebody you'd like to bring in, and also would you be happy to move to a 5 at the back formation if he was to come in?
Personally, 5 at the back, like you said, I don't think it works in Everton's DNA, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think we should go like more attacking. But 5 at the back, I don't honestly think that's our nature, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Well, it was our nature when we played boring Sam Allardyce football. Well, the only thing we was happy about that is he kept us up, and we nearly finished in Europe, which quite surprised me. But
we did.
Honestly, I don't want to go back to that football.
No, I'm with you, mate. I think as much as it can be an attacking formation, I think when we defend with 5 at the back, it's all just very confusing, and like I said, I'd rather play 4 at the back and have wingers than wing backs. But Lamptey is a good shout. He's a very good young player, of course, come through Chelsea's academy, I believe. Daniel says Max Adams looks class. Everton Watcher says Luca Dean with 2 eyes. I've just nearly fell off my chair then, mate. I thought they'd announced the new contract, but then he said coming soon, so hopefully we won't miss out on that one. Niall says I've got a team here, Cam, I've seen on Twitter, could be the future of Everton teams. We'll send you it on Instagram after the stream. Is right, mate, is right. I'll be sure to. I need to check Instagram more often. I don't check it anywhere near as often as I should. I've just absolutely put it to the side because I don't know, I find it dead difficult to use because I'm dead old. Eugene says Holgate on what motivated him to win Merseyside derby. Hamegs Rodriguez says I think we look good with 3 at the back. It's great to have so many options. It is great to have so many options, I agree, and you know, again, it's brilliant that we're sitting here and we don't know who Carlo will play or where Carlo will fit a new right back in, because it means that he's got a selection headache, which is what we want. Steve says in Carlo we must trust. Everton Blues says, hey lads, how does it feel knowing Carlo is unbeaten versus Klopp? Well, there was that one game that we won't talk about, but he's unbeaten in the league against Klopp. We'll move on to talk about that in a sec, Alfie. Eugene says, I think Everton needs a player like Max Adams from Norwich like they did with Ben Godfrey. Well, Ben Godfrey coming from Norwich, and I'm not going to lie, I looked at Ben Godfrey and thought, this lad's played in the Premier League before. I remember him being decent, but is he £20 million worth of decent? It's a massive risk. I'd have paid £200 million for Ben Godfrey. He's unbelievable. You know what Ben Godfrey is for me, Alfie, and I don't know if you agree, but he's a natural winner. He's a born winner. Look at the videos of Ben Godfrey after the derby win. He's screaming and shouting as if he's been an Evertonian for his whole life, and he's, you know, that emotion. I was like that. But I've seen derby defeat after derby defeat after derby defeat. Alfie was probably like that, and he's seen derby defeat after derby defeat. We've both grown up Everton from the moment we were born. Ben Godfrey hasn't. He's been here 6 months since October, and the emotion on his face, it just shows he's a winner, doesn't it, mate? He's just a pure winner. Yeah,
definitely. But there was like a rumour, you know, in the hotel that he set the alarm on.
Oh yeah, seen
and
that.
He wanted everyone to get pumped up for the game, mate. I've already fallen in love. He wins everything, doesn't he?
I didn't even know that was that. I knew about the rumour of the alarm, but I thought the rumour was that somebody else set it off, Liverpool being mischievous,
fan. Yeah. It was apparently a Liverpool fan, but Ben Godfrey, I think he said that he did it, and everyone...
Bloody hell.
Basically, he wanted to get everyone pumped up.
Oh, mate, if that's true, I'm bound. Well, I was going to say I'm bouncing down the Everton shop and getting every single shirt with his name on the back, but obviously we can't. I'll just go on the internet after the stream and do it instead. Oh, that's amazing, mate. Like you said, I'm falling in love with the fella. He's unbelievable. Eugene says, happy birthday, Anthony Gordon. Yes, big happy birthday to Anthony Gordon. He's 20 today. Or is he 19? No, he's 20 today. Yeah, big happy birthday to Anthony Gordon. Big Nozzer says, a natural right back is a must, and Ben Godfrey is essential at left back. He's a far better defender and more pace than Dean. Keane, Meenan and Holgate can battle it out for centre back. Dean can then play further forward. Fair enough. JP says Keane is undroppable, and I believe Godfrey will be our future captain and better off making him a consistent starter. And Big Nozzer says defo Godfrey future captain. Well, exactly, we look at it and we think, well, Keane's undroppable and Ben Godfrey's a future captain and Mason's play well, but Yerry Mina's been exceptional this season, hasn't he?
Defo. He's been like, he's such a great guy to hang around.
Yeah.
Again, all of these players, they're all getting on with each other very, very well.
Absolutely.
The dressing room scenes, everyone bouncing up and down in the away dressing room of Anfield. Yes, everyone's been saying it wasn't like we won the league, but that meant the world.
It was.
We had to break that. We had to break that 22 years of hate winning at Anfield. I've never seen Everton win at Anfield since my whole life. It's been over the decade we last beat them at Gunnarsson. I was like 5 years old, but
there you go.
It's amazing.
Exactly. And I still am celebrating, mate. And I'll continue to celebrate for years. Never, ever, ever, to anyone watching or listening, never, ever, ever allow somebody to say, oh, you're celebrating like you've won the league. You're over-celebrating. Mate, I'll be celebrating that win deep into the end of this year, mate. As soon as everything's reopened and everything's safe to do so, and we're allowed to go out, I'll probably go for the date night with the missus because, I've got to do, that'll be nice to do. We haven't done that for a while. But if the next time I'm out, mate, be it in a pub or town, that derby win is the first thing on my mind when that first beer's going down my throat. That's getting celebrated till the cows come home, mate, because we haven't, and I will over-celebrate it as much as anybody wants to say, because it hasn't happened in 22 years. And ultimately, like I said, again, it was unbelievably, the emotion was just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We'll move on to that in a second. We will get back in the live comments. Tom T Logic has said, he said, what's Alfie's career aspirations? Think he should start writing some blogs on Everton or scouting reports on players?
Mate, I'd love that. I'd love to be a comment. Well, I've said this. When I was a young age, I've always wanted to be a footballer. I wouldn't mind doing a commentator role,
Yeah.
I'll be better than Steve McManaman, for instance. Oh, mate.
Absolutely.
I'll be better than him. Don't you worry.
You're brilliant at it, mate.
Hopefully that happens.
You're brilliant at it. You're absolutely boss at it. The channel Everton now, if you haven't checked out Everton now, it's in the description. Go and drop them a subscribe. Only recently started. Everybody over there, Alfie, all the lads are absolutely unbelievable. The content is brilliant and they all speak so well and articulate points. So no, I agree with Tom. If that's your aspiration, mate, definitely get into it because you'd be absolutely brilliant at it. Yeah. Tom also says blue panty night for Cam in June, mate. Absolutely, mate, absolutely. Anyway, let's get on to that derby then. Merseyside derby. Yes, we're talking about it again. Yes, I'm not happy to let it go. Yes, I won't let it go forever. I suppose firstly, have you calmed down a little bit as the emotions settled a bit? Have we become just a level of happiness, or are you still absolutely over the moon excited? And as well, was you just coming down to that level of, you know what, I'm content and happy now, and then the stadium news come out and you just went vum-fra through the roof again in excitement?
I've basically levelled up even more, to be honest. I want to go back to school so I can take the absolute mick.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Because they've been taking the mick for over like how many years.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'd love to honestly see me cop out, mates. They've all been quiet,
I'm not surprised, mate.
Every single one of them. Have you seen them on Twitter for hibernating?
I've seen some of the just the reaction videos are great, aren't they? And like I said, they did. Mate, honestly, from that Champions League final, whenever it was when they won it, there was flags, there was cardboard cutouts, there was shrines, there was everything out, and those stayed out from when they won the league. There was fireworks, there was more flags, etc, and they continued to stay out. I left ours on Sunday morning to go on a nice little walk because it was weather was nice. Everton had won, not one flag in sight, mate. Could not see a flag in sight.
All been taken down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, I don't blame you, mate, because I when I was in school, I never seen many Derby defeats. I never seen many Derby victories, and I had a load of mates that were Evertonians and that were Liverpudlians, that'd rub it in my face, and that'd come in and another year I can. Maybe next year. And I never had that chance to go in one day after a derby and say, "Wee, another year for you lot, we," because we didn't beat them. In the 7 years that I was in secondary school, we never beat Liverpool once. The last time we beat them, I think, last year in primary, or maybe that was just going into secondary, and then obviously the next time was the other day when I've been out for however many years. So I never got that chance once. So when you're back, mate, and even if
this is my last year and all,
get it in.
I said to me dad, I really hope we beat these today.
Yeah.
I do not want to wait another season, if I'm being honest, but the day's finally come, and Carlo, he did prove us wrong with the team, but I said to everyone on my watch along, he's always got a plan A, B, C, D.
That's it.
And Klopp hasn't, and look what happens.
That's it.
And Klopp was taking the absolute myth of Carlo not starting DCL and Allen, so that's a bit of mind games from Carlo, and it worked out. Yeah. So
I must admit,
happy.
I watched that on the interview beforehand, because obviously we just had the game on waiting for it to come up, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't seen the team. Is Alan and Calvert-Lewin playing?" And the fella went, "No, they're on the bench," and he just laughed and went, "Ha, poker face from Carlo." And I thought, well, not really, mate. No, the pair of them have only just come back from injury and probably aren't match fit yet, so not really a poker face fella, but we'll beat you without them, and we did. And oh, mate, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? And I want to talk about a couple of players. We'll start with Tom Davies. I know we've been on for 40 minutes, so I won't keep you too much longer, but we'll start with Tom Davies. That lad has been absolutely exceptional for weeks now. Not just the derby, but weeks and weeks and weeks prior to the derby. Stepped up, Merseyside derby at Anfield. Very tough, obviously, fixture. I haven't beaten them for 22 years. And he just played like it was a Sunday League game, didn't it? Me and Tom talked about it on Monday in the review, and Tom said he played like he just turned up to play with his mates against some of his other mates, and he's just been unbelievable, hasn't he, mate? And when you talk about an Everton team now and an Everton start 11, Tom Davies has to be in there.
Definitely. I think Carlo has learned a lesson. Do not take Tom Davies off anymore. Yeah. I think we should just, if he's starting, just don't take him off, because the Everton team fell apart when he brought him off for the City game, the Fulham game, and it did not work out. But look at us now. Just, if he's going to start the whole game, personally. Yeah,
no, I agree. And like we said before, I think a midfield three of Tom Davies, Decore and Alan will just be absolutely unbelievable. If you're watching, by the way, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to everyone in the live comments. We'll get back in those in a moment. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your comments in the comment section. 60 people watching, so I really appreciate that. But no, you're spot on, mate. We noticed a very, very, very clear sort of decline in the way that we were playing when Tom Davies has been substituted over the last couple of weeks or so. The City game was evident because Gylfi sat in the defensive midfield role and he just can't do it. But you know what? I want to get something clear. I know there's been a lot of critics of Tom Davies, and I'm not sitting here saying those are wrong, because there has been games where he hasn't been good enough. There's been games where he's not done much. There's been games that we've lost and he hasn't been involved. So I'm not by any means sitting here saying nobody should have an opinion or nobody should criticise a player. I've criticised Tom Davies before, but I think we all now, and criticising's fine. Blue Nose LJ says Tom Davies was class, and I have been a critic of him. Exactly, mate, and that is exactly what we need to do. We need to sit here, and even if we've been extremely critical of players in the past, when they put in performances like Tom's doing, we have to be able to sit here and go, he's been excellent, and there's no issue with that whatsoever. I'm not saying never have an issue with a player or never be critical of a player, because that's an opinion, and that's absolutely fine, and I'm the same as everybody. I'll always be critical of players if we don't put in a performance, or if they...
Pickford, Sigurdsson...
Exactly, mate.
Tom.
Exactly. So
all of them.
Exactly. So when they put in a performance, we have to be able to say, you know what, they were excellent today. We can't still say, oh yeah, but it was a one-off or this that. We have to say, no, they were brilliant, you know, like I said, that you can't disagree. Tom has been unbelievable, mate. Absolutely unbelievable. That lad plays footy with his socks by his ankles, his hair in it, and he literally looks like he just turns up and goes, yeah, be easy this today, be absolutely easy this. Every game, mate, every game, even City, he looked comfortable in that midfield, and like I said, when he come off, we looked a lot worse than what we did when he was on, and the derby, mate, considering the hoodoo that was on the back and the 22 years, and the fact that Tom Davies himself has been part of some really poor derby defeats and derby performances, mate, I just love him, mate. And the day after, he's on Bold Street giving out drinks to homeless people and helping other people out.
Yeah.
Mate, he's unbelievable.
Baines and all.
Baines as well, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I just think he's great, isn't he? And he asked, like I said, there's not a chance Tom Davies can be dropped now, Alfie.
What?
There's not a chance he can be dropped. There's not a chance he can be taken out this team.
No. Definitely not.
No, absolutely. He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. Another name I want to mention, Jordan Pickford. This one is a special one for me, Jordan's performance, because again, look, I don't know if anybody else feels like I might just be an absolutely emotional wreck at the moment who's seen the derby win, seen the stadium and can't hack it. But Jordan's performance for me was special, and not just because he put in a really good performance against Liverpool and Anfield and he was great, but you think of the critics that Jordan Pickford had coming into this game, not just from Evertonians who, again, rightly so, have expressed concerns because of some previous performances or mistakes, but the media were absolutely crying for Jordan Pickford to make a mistake yesterday. You could see the headlines. They'd already had it written in their computers, they'd already had it ready in their drafts to press tweet, Pickford makes a mistake, Liverpool capitalise this, that. The headline was already written, and he turned up and he silenced every single one of those doubters, not only with unbelievable save from a Henderson shot, from a
little arms.
Yeah.
He's grown his arms now, hasn't he?
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, Alisson could have done with bigger arms for that Richarlison shot, because he got nowhere near it, mate. Maybe if he didn't have little arms, he'd have got closer to it. But it wasn't just the save for me, Alfie, the unbelievable save, because we know, I said this the other day, Jordan makes great saves. He's a great shot stopping goalkeeper. He's always been like that. One thing you can't say of Jordan Pickford is in terms of, he might have a shot from outside the box and spilling underneath him, but if a player goes one-on-one with him 5 yards out, most of the time he's saving it, because he does do that. It's always been the simple bits, the catches, the distribution, the punching from corners. Perfect on Saturday, absolutely perfect, and he deserves so much praise, doesn't he, Alfie? Because all of that adversity, all of that, Klopp coming out and saying, we wish we never played Everton. Everton wish they never played us a couple of days after. And what? Would Hendo and Robbo have turned up? I seen a tweet the other week which was like, Richarlison grew up in a Brazilian favela, as if he's going to be scared of Hendo and Robbo and Millie and all. And Jordan was the exact same. I've never seen Jordan Pickford so focused in my life. I really, really haven't. He was
honestly, sorry to interrupt
go on.
here, but I just love Coleman's leadership.
Yeah.
After the Henderson save and all, I've got to give him big praise for that, because Pickford did stay calm, and I'm glad. The Salah save, the Henderson save, the Trent save, he's been bossing it. So here's a question for everyone here: would you still buy a goalkeeper as a backup?
You know what, mate? You're a natural at this. You are a natural at this, because I was literally about to ask you the same question, in the same vein as the Max Allen's question. Would you still buy a goalkeeper? Do you want me to answer that one as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should let's give Jordan a run of games now, and I assume he would have a run of games, because Carlo's always been very, very clear that when he's fit, he'll play a lot of games. Robin Olsen will still play, but Jordan will play a lot of games. I think that performance could be the making of Jordan Pickford as an Everton player. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I could be sitting here in 2 weeks saying he's made another mistake, but I think that performance could be the making of Jordan Pickford. The confidence that will have given him, the fact that he was just purely focused. He might come into every game now going, you know what, I've overcome what ultimately may have been a fear for him. He's made derby mistakes in the past, not just the one in Goodison a couple of months back. He's made mistakes in the past in derbies that have cost us. So he might come into every game now thinking, I've just overcome a massive hoodoo on my own back. Never mind the 22 years without a win. I've overcome that thing of every time I play Liverpool, something goes wrong, and I've put in a man-of-the-match performance and we've won the game. all I need to do now is just focus on the task ahead of me. Don't make silly mistakes. Don't, lose concentration. Just focus. And I think if he can do that, if he puts in a performance like that the other day, every game in the rest of the season, I ain't buying any goalkeeper, mate. He's our number one moving forward. He is, because if he can prove that he can put in that performance on a consistent basis, we don't need a goalkeeper, because he was absolutely excellent. But I suppose for me personally, he gets a run now. We see where we go for the rest of the season, and then we sort of make the judgments. What do you think, mate? What's your opinion on that one then?
I totally agree. To be fair, just give him a run of games and see how he gets on, really. Yes, Olsen could be a boss back up for only 6 million, his release clause after the loan deal, so we'll see what happens in the summer. If it doesn't work out, we could get like someone like a Donnarumma.
Yeah.
I'd love him at the club, but the thing is, we will have 3 goalkeepers on high wages.
Yeah.
So it depends where we say. But yeah, Pickford remains our number one all day.
Yeah. No, absolutely, I agree. If Pickford can put in performances like Saturday, week in, week out now, I've got no issue. And I do think we'll still sign Olsen, because like you said, it's a cheap fee, and ultimately we need a backup. We've got no one else other than João Virginia, but I don't think he's up to it. But I think for me, Jordan, like I said, that performance could be the making of Jordan Pickford, and I hope it is. I really hope it is, because all of the shit that him and his family have gone through in the last, I'd have loved to have been
before the derby and all.
Yeah, before, that's what I mean, before the derby as well, for seasons and seasons and seasons. Considering when he goes away with England, all the media are all over him like he's lover boy 262, but when he's playing for Everton, he's the worst things in sliced bread. I'd have loved to have been a fly on the wall in Jordan Pickford's house on Saturday evening when he got home, because I can only begin to imagine the emotion between his family, between himself in the dressing room. I hope every single one of and Seamus did it, like you rightly said. The leadership from Seamus is unbelievable, but I hope every single one of those players turned up after that game in the dressing room, went over to Jordan Pickford and just went, you know what, lad, that was boss, that. Give him a hug, shook his hand, tapped him on the back and said that was great, because he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it, because the adversity, the media who jumped on him, there were the articles before Saturday's derby of the tackle, which was clearly an accident and still is going on, and he turned up, and you know what gives me so much makes me satisfied so much, I can't even speak. Not one of those Reds can turn around and say a bad word about his performance the other day. Not one of them can make an excuse, oh yeah, but he done this or he done that or he done that. Not one of them. If I'd love, next time I see any of my Red mates, obviously I'm going to turn up to them and go, how'd you rate Jordan Pickford's performance the other day? And they can't say anything other than a 10 out of 10. They can't, because he kept us in the game on multiple occasions. He was just unbelievable, and like I said, I hope it is the making of him as an Everton player, because we know what he can do. When Jordan's on form, he's brilliant. It's when he's off form and he's lacking confidence and he's making mistakes that he struggles. Tom T Logic says, I hope it's the making of Pickford as well, but hard to discount his last 2 seasons when making a recruitment decision. I agree, mate. I absolutely agree.
Definitely.
And that's why I think I've spoke a couple of times, I know me and Tom have spoken, I'm sure you have, Alfie, about Pickford and the fact that he was a decent, solid goalkeeper for Everton until that mistake at Anfield, which we don't talk too much about, the Origi mistake, that seemed to really just sort of knock his confidence for 6, and it sort of was a tumble factor in his career, just going down, making mistakes every week. He was decent before then, he was brilliant in his first season for Everton. I think he got player of the season in his first season for Everton. He was excellent, and then that mistake, it just all seemed to just go flat on its arse and fall. So hopefully from that mistake to the performance on Saturday, that part of his career now is just squashed up and thrown away, and he can focus now on the performances that he was putting in his first season. But like I said, for me, on your question, Alf, I think it's a brilliant question. Let us know in the comment section down below, by the way, on Alfie's question. If you're watching live, let us know. If you're watching a YouTube video, let us know. But like I said, I think for me, if he can put consistent performances in between now and the end of the season, I would have no issue with him staying as number 1. But he's got to do that ultimately. James Rodriguez says Decore, Allen, James and Godfrey cost 60 million and Iwobi cost 35. Something wrong there. I still think the jury's out with Iwobi. I think he can improve. He's still very young. What do you make of Alex Iwobi then? Certainly this season he's improved, hasn't he, an awful lot. He's probably still not the player we want him to be, but he's improved.
Listen, he was a panic buy by Brands, wasn't it? Let's be honest. But I think he's grown into a seaman. Like, honestly, we would think everyone's an Evertonian, already like that, like Ben Godfrey. I think he's still a good player to have as a squad player, to be fair. He comes on, he's fast, he crosses the ball, he knows the players, he gets on with them. So I reckon he's still a part of our system, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention Big Dunk.
Oh, my God.
The emotion of him, to Seamus, to Ben Godfrey, all the players. All the crap he had from the past couple of derbies, finally he gets something.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Big Duncan Ferguson, those pictures of Duncan Ferguson. Listen, Duncan's always been an Everton hero for me, and you know, I think he's, like I said, he's from playing days to managing days, but that, like I said, those 3 or 4 games that he managed towards the back end of last season, just at Goodison, seeing the emotion when we beat Chelsea, seeing the emotion every time we scored, even this season, you know, being an assistant to Carlo, seeing the emotion when we scored the equaliser at Old Trafford, when we scored the winner against Tottenham, and that the other day, mate, that was a different level, you know, to see a man who cares so much about our football club and loves us. Duncan Ferguson is Everton Football Club, make no mistake, we are number 1 in Duncan Ferguson's life, and I just, again, I adore the man. And those pictures, like you said, mate, that emotion he showed, it's just, it's again, I think it's so needed as well, because when you've got somebody like Carlo, who I'm not saying isn't an emotional guy or isn't one that, like, you know, is you know, caring or whatever. He obviously he's a caring fella and he's an emotional guy, but he doesn't necessarily show it an awful lot, because ultimately Carlo Ancelotti has beaten Liverpool before multiple times. He's beaten them in Champions League finals. He's also lost to them in Champions League finals, so he knows what it's like both ends of the scale. He's beaten them at Anfield with multiple different sides. He's beaten some of the best teams in the world. So winning a derby at Anfield for Carlo Ancelotti is a good result and a good performance, but it's not the emotion that it is to Duncan Ferguson. It's not the emotion that it is to us as fans, because Carlo understands that we've gone 22 years without a win there, and he understands that the form hasn't been great there recently, but that's his that's where he's coming from, right? The form hasn't been good, let's turn up and win. The emotional side of it is through Evertonians like ourselves, Duncan Ferguson, who know the pain of the last 22 years, and Carlo knows that and will understand that, but obviously he won't have been there for all of that, whereas Duncan Ferguson will have, and that's why I think it's so vital, and I'm so happy that when Carlo Ancelotti to come into Everton Football Club, that decision was made that Duncan Ferguson was going to stay the assistant manager, because like I said, Carlo come out in the post-game interview and said the happiest person in the whole team there, in the whole dressing room, was Duncan Ferguson. And Carlo very clearly cares, and Carlo loves Everton as much as we love him, and he's really taken to Everton Football Club and us as fans and the community and the city. But like I said, he hasn't been through those 22 years of hate. He can accept it and he can understand it and he can understand how much it means to us, and he can be happy that we've won, but Duncan's been through all of that as well as all of us. So no, I agree. I think they're the perfect combination. I think Carlo's the calm, cool-headed manager. He done an interview a few months back where he said when he's angry he speaks in Italian, and Duncan Ferguson, the one that I think, like I said, is maybe the little bit of a hothead, wants everyone to do it right, isn't very happy if it's not done right. And I think they're partnership, their combination with David is just perfect, isn't it, mate? It's perfect for Everton.
Ultimate combo, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you go to the pub and you get like a beer and a burger and chips. It's just all there, everything you need. You've got the burger, which is the substantial bit, which is Carlo. That's the everything you look at. You've got the beer, which is the Duncan Ferguson, the emotion, and then you've got the chips, which is David, which is again burger and
tops it all
off, mate. It's not a burger and chips is nothing without chips, is it? Let's be honest, it's in the name. Ultimately, I agree, absolutely. Let's get back in the comments then. I do want to talk about Ben Godfrey before we finish up, mate. I know I've kept you for an hour, I apologise.
No, it's fine.
Everton else is in different games. Carlo had different plans, so nobody Everton. I don't know if is that you or one or the other.
It's Tom.
Tom is right. Tom is right. Tom's excellent as well. Absolutely excellent. Yeah. Frequently talk to Tom. So again, go and subscribe to Everton now. Tom's in the comments. So technically, is a bench player. Yeah. Evan Butcher says Rico Henry from Brentford on the list. Sorry, Ewan says can Everton finish top 4? Yeah, we can, but I'm not getting too ahead of myself because I just think. Yeah, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Lucas says we're currently in the best position we've been in for years, and the squad rotation is very strong. Looking at the likes of Adams gives us more options, which will benefit us in Europe next season. Up to Toffees is right. Tom T Logic says all depends on does Carlo want low block or a high line? Do we want to play in an attacking system where Adams would thrive, or counter-attacking football which Holgate suits? Yeah, I agree. And again, it's all about options, isn't it? Eugene's talking about Gleason Bremer, who Everton are interested in. Hameg says Tom T Logic is a legend. I agree. Nels says buying a second, I think. There you go. Mitchell says what happens if we pick up Rabiot? Probably just becomes another squad players. Tom says the Vasquez rumours. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen any Vasquez rumours.
Yeah.
Don't know if you have, mate.
Yeah, I reposted it this morning.
Okay.
So, yeah, apparently we're linked with him, yeah.
Which Vasquez is this? There's a couple, isn't he?
Real Madrid,
okay.
winger.
Okay, yeah. I'm onto him. Yeah, I don't know. I
don't think we need him, but he'll be boss. He's a boss player, you know.
Yeah, again, you know, listen. We went to Real Madrid and said we're taking James Rodriguez and we're paying nothing, mate. So nothing would surprise me with this Everton team. It really wouldn't. DJ says Emerson from Real Betis is a good shout for right back. Everton now says Silva never had a list. That's why we panic bought Iwobi. Can't disagree with that. Now says Taverniers. Brother's a good player as well, winger for Middlesbrough. Rack says it's got to be Lamptey or Max Adams. I prefer Lamptey though. Vasquez would be magic. Rich says 2-0. I'm still dining out on this and I will for at least 6 months. That aside, I imagine given we're getting a new stadium with Ancelotti, can attract any player now. I agree.
I can't wait for the new stadium, mate.
Me too.
Honestly.
Me too.
But the last game, like you said, I think in your last live, I'm not stepping 1 foot off Gunnison Park.
Oh, mate, no, they will have to unscrew my chair and carry me out. I am not leaving.
Yeah.
I am not leaving. It's as much as it is for as good as it is for the new stadium and Bramley-Moore, and as exciting as that is, I am. Listen, we haven't been at Goodison for a year. I certainly haven't. I don't know if you got any of the tickets during the balloting stage, but I haven't been at Goodison Park for over a year now. And as exciting as the new stadium is, and as brilliant as it was, and as emotional as it is, my focus purely is getting back to sitting in the park end and watching the Toffees at Goodison, and every single time I'm there, as Tom said in the comments of yesterday's team, every time I'm there, I will savour every single moment of that, because again, there's not ultimately 3 years, and you might say that's ages, but that's not long in the grand scheme of things. You'd have 38 games a season, so half of them are at home, so my maths is shocking. Maybe 19, 18 games at home every season. You got that times 2 or 3,
like 50 games
60 left at Goodison. That's not
Cup
a lot
games
at
and all.
Yeah,
so
say 60 games, give or take a few, left at Goodison. That isn't a lot whatsoever. So, and
when the stadium is like obviously built into houses, I don't want to go back to County Road, if I'm being honest. It will make me emotional.
Oh, it will.
Honestly.
It will. There'll be tears. It'll be great to see what it looks like and for the community in the new stadium, but there'll definitely be a tear in my eye every time I walk past what is Goodison Park and what always will be home for me and for you and for everyone watching. But look, I think it's the right move, obviously, for the club. We need it, and we know how important it is. And I think in terms of, you know, going into Bramley-Moore with Carlo as the manager and hopefully winning trophies and beating them lot, and just it's massively important. But the emotion is, it's just. It's too much to even handle, to be honest with you. It's too much to even handle. DG says Vasquez is free in the summer. Matt says Everton are going to win Eurovision next season. Underground says, did you see Liverpool wanting Brandway from us? Yeah, they got no chance, mate. Absolutely no chance.
No. Well, sorry to say this, but before the derby of the rematch is finally here for Jaws and Pickford. They were slagging him off. They were slagging other players, but since after the derby, when they've been so quiet.
Yeah, exactly. They are quiet because they, like I said, like we said before, mate, I think we all know that the media were waiting for a Pickford mistake. They were waiting for error from Richarlison. They were waiting for a cock up from somebody, and they didn't get it. So all of those articles that they had pre-written that were going to get viewed by loads of Liverpool fans, they shut the computer down and they went, you know what, lads, we'll just go to bed here because we're not going to, we're not going to be able to post that because Everton turned up and beat fair and square. So, yeah, look, ultimately, again, the media, we knew what the media wanted and they didn't get it, which is great. Bruno says, Godfrey equals beast. Bruno says, we always say nobody's bigger than our club. I disagree. Carlo is a beast. He's our beast. Craig says, hi, Carlo. Tom in the comments says, few times Carlo has commented on the community in the city. Yeah, he loves it, mate. He absolutely loves it.
Crosby Beach, he loves,
Oh, he loves Crosby, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He absolutely loves Crosby. Tubb says Carlo and Duncan together are like a force in my opinion. They are a force. Certainly are a force, mate. A force to be reckoned with. Bruno says Carlo walked off with a smug grin. He did. Rich says, I've got nothing against Iwobi, but he either goes on a pointless meaningful dribble or gives it away cheaply. Matt says Big Dun could be our manager in Bramley-Moore. I assume Big Duncan Ferguson will be the Everton manager at some point in the future. I don't know whether it'll be going into Bramley-Moore because I still think Carlo will be here, but he will be in the future. Rich says, wasn't Vasquez the badass machine gunner in Aliens? And Tom T. Lodge says, don't give up on your dreams, Alfie. Good luck, mate. Is right.
Boss. Cheers.
Luna says, hey, Cam, Tom Davis was class and I've been a critic of him. Ahmed says, Davis never stops running a game, even in extra time against Spurs, doesn't stop. And Rich says, given that we're bringing international class players through the door, through the academy, do we actually need to bring in too many more players because their players always have loyalty to the club? Well, I still think we need to improve. I still think we need to bring in, a lot of, a couple of players to improve this team. But again, I think ultimately we know that we've got. It's difficult because one week we sit here and say the squad isn't good enough, and the next week we sit here and say everybody's performing. But we definitely need to improve. Obviously, we do. It's if we're going to be a Champions League challenging team, we need to improve the squad. Let's talk about Richarlison then before we finish up, mate.
Go ahead.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. Not only his goal, which is exceptional, it's brilliant finish, but the work rate, playing up front on your own for large parts of that game isn't easy. Never is easy for anybody. But he done it brilliantly again. He did it brilliantly against Man City, to be fair. He held the ball up well, he won fouls, he didn't give it away. And against Liverpool, mate, it was back to that Richarlison that we know and love, wasn't he? And he was just exceptional.
Yeah, definitely. I love him personally. Yeah. He said after the Liverpool game, he was on like an interview. When Everton sing his song, he gets goosebumps. Yeah. I love to see that. What else is there? Yeah, he only had a few touches against City and Fulham, but he still managed to score. Yes, it was a tap-in, but he still scored, and he was playing centrally. And then he scored against Liverpool. Yeah. So, it's boss.
Exactly. Mate, I think his work rate, I think his passion, I think his love for the football club, like you said, that interview he done after the game where he said he gets emotional when the fans sing his song. He was on Instagram, I think yesterday, singing Spirit of the Blues when the stadium stuff was announced, as well as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. One thing we can say, mate, is this is a group of players who have really taken to Everton as a club, really invested in the fans, the emotion, the passion, the energy, and they all seem like Evertonians now, and that's what I think is so vital. I think what Carlo Ancelotti and Duncan Ferguson have both done is they've made sure that first and foremost, before anything, these players become Evertonians and they know what it means to fight for this badge. They know what it means to fight for us as fans, fight for this club. We're seeing that, aren't we now?
Defo. Right, I've just got a question for everyone here. I know Carlo isn't going to be with us for that long, but who do you think will be the manager when we get the new stadium? Will it be Duncan as a full-time manager? So when we get the new stadium, who is going to be the manager? Let us
know that one in the comments. Then we'll end on that one. That's a fantastic question. I think you're spot on. To be fair, mate, it will be. I think Carlo will stay for a long time because I think he wants to stay past his contract, but they will get to a point where he's not here and he has to leave. I think it depends personally what situation we're in. I think if we've won trophies, if we're successful, if we're consistently a Champions League winning team, which let's be honest, we hope that by the time Carlo Ancelotti leaves Everton, we're challenging for league titles, we're challenging in the Champions League. It depends where we are as a club for me, but Duncan Ferguson will be the Everton manager in the future at some point.
Yeah.
Would you say Duncan, or would you... I don't know. Obviously, it's difficult,
I
isn't
reckon
it?
Duncan, to be fair, I know it was only a temporary manager role he plays, but we went unbeaten until I think it was the Leicester Cup game when we lost on pens. But I think he did an amazing job running up and down the touchline, giving the ball boys a hug. I'd love that to happen to me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he could be, I'd love him.
Absolutely.
Especially with the new stadium and all. Yeah. So.
Well, like you said, Niall says I reckon Carlo still. Everton now says Tom says Carlo to retire. Said he already wants to manage. I think I agree, and I think Alfie. I think Carlo will be the manager going into the new stadium, and probably for the next 4 or 5 years in the stadium. But obviously, it will come to a point in the future when he does leave or he does retire. Harry says I won't let Carlo leave. Toothy says it'll be Carlo. Ian says hopefully Carlo will be here for 10 years. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Carlo will leave as soon as we move into the new stadium. I think Carlo will be here for a long time, even into the stadium. But obviously, when he moves on, I think it probably will be Duncan Ferguson, won't it? And Sombrero says Ancelotti for Bramley-Moore Stadium. Bruno says hopefully still Carlo. Yes, mate, hopefully. I don't know. I don't know if he's a red, mate. There's someone in the comments who might be a red, but you know what? We don't let those reds bring us down. There was one more comment, a couple of more comments I wanted to finish up on. Rich says if Pickford had a consistent composure, yes, he'd be top. Chen La says you seen the plan for the Reds to run over to Van Dijk when they won. They got the Reds. So yeah, he was sitting there like bloody Lazarus, and they were going to run over.
But I hate it, right? I'm sorry, but I hate it. If they kept on putting the camera on him, like before the game. Where's the camera to DC Allen on the bench? Yeah. He showed up like 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
On the camera. And then if they were talking about the window was windy at Anfield, how will the players cope? They mentioned about the wind like 10 times in the game, which really put. But for playing on the same pitch, so where does that work out? Yeah,
exactly, mate, exactly. No, you're spot on, and like you said, the camera kept panning to them, and I heard that rumour about them. They were going to run up to him and celebrate if they won, and he was going to be standing there like bloody Zeus up front. And I read it, and I thought, you know what? That makes sense for them for that, why he's there and why the camera keeps panning to them. And if that's the case, it's embarrassing, isn't it? The lad's got an injury and he'll be back soon, and it's not a nice injury, and it's never to see people get injured.
But Pickford kept a clean sheet in front of him, so it's all happy days, isn't it?
Maybe he was there to watch Pickford. Maybe he was there to watch his mate put in a stellar performance. Nad says, do you think we'll keep Keane? Moise Keane, I think he's talking about. I don't know.
Well, that's an interesting one, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the player. And I think if he wants to leave, we won't. I think if he wants to stay, we probably will. But, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he'll stay or not?
Depends, don't it? Earlier on the season, he wasn't getting on with Poch, but I think they're getting on now. But would he want to play in the best league in the world? Like I said, maybe. But Carlo said before he'd love him to come back.
Yeah.
He scored against Barca. Well, I read something when Koeman wanted to turn Everton into Barca, and then Koeman's turned Barca into Everton. So.
Well, Everton are better than Barca at the moment.
Defo.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if Moise Keane sat down and said, I want to come back to Everton, I want to work hard, I want to be a part of this team, he'd stay. Because I think Carlo's a big fan of him, I think Marcel Brands is a big fan of him, but I think if he turns around and says he doesn't want to be here, then he'll leave. So
the price tag is high, all.
Yeah, well, that's the decision that Everton have to make. I hope that... from a business point of view and from a recruitment point of view, shout out to Tom in the comments, I hope that if Moise Keane does come back and say, I want to stay at Everton, I want to, I'm just reading those comments there, I want to stay at Everton,
I know.
I don't want to leave, I want to work hard. I hope we say, yeah, brilliant, fine, but I hope we also think, right, what's the bid that's coming from PSG? Because recruitment basis, if Moise Keane comes back, if we've got a £70 million bid for Moise Keane from PSG, and he turns around and says, look, I'm not fussed, I'll go to PSG or I'll stay at Everton, and we say, right, okay, we'll give you the season you want to work hard, and then he doesn't have a great season and he still can't hack it in the Prem, and then his price tag goes down 30 million, we're all saying, why didn't we sell him, blah blah blah. So I think there's a decision to be made on two fronts there, but it all starts with Moise Keane if he wants to stay at Everton, and if he does, then we make the decision if we've received a bid. If he doesn't, then there's no argument.
It's a big summer transfer window. I think this is the transfer window where we're looking to push for top 4. Definitely turn into like a Leicester. I think, no, I'm not trying to be biased, but I think we've got a better squad than Leicester in some parts. Obviously not in every area, but in some parts.
I agree.
But we need to be consistent like Leicester. Yes, Leicester did. They always, they tip points at the end of the season, but the most of the season they're so consistent.
I agree, absolutely, and I agree with what you said. I think this summer transfer window was massive for Everton. This is the transfer window where we do push to that next level, and it will be interesting to see where we finish at the end of the season, obviously. Erwin says, hi Cam, Pickford's performance was brilliant. Rich says, Coleman will be staffed like Dunk eventually. Somebody please explain Iwobi to me. Seriously, I'm not saying he's not good, but what does he actually do? Well, I think, again, he still needs to add that consistency. He still needs to add that level of... he still needs to add that final ball for a start, let's be perfectly honest, because it's not good enough at the moment. But I like Iwobi. I think he's a good lad. I think he's a nice fella, and I think he's still young, and if he gets his head down and works hard, I think he can be a success. Teddy McAllister in the comments says, afternoon lads, don't think we'll see Keane back. He doesn't suit this league. He's not the first or last player. Where that is the case, we'll make a profit and move on to someone else for that spot. I think that's the most likely I think that's the most likely option and solution, to be fair. Teddy, I think you're spot on there. Anyway, we'll finish it up there then, Alf. Look, a massive thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you haven't checked out Alf's channel and Tom's channel and everybody, get on it in the description. Everton now, they're in the comments now, having a little laugh with the Leeds fan who says Everton will never win the league, but yeah, you know what.
I appreciate everyone. Cheers for inviting me, Cam, of course. Everyone go and subscribe to Everton Now, as in all of our socials. Everton Now on Insta and Twitter, be absolutely amazing. And of course we've got a TikTok which went viral over hammers, saying up the Toffees. So yeah, up the Toffees. Love it, mate. Yeah, like
Alf said, go and check out Everton Now in the description. Brilliant YouTube channel, fantastic content, watch alongs, reviews, previews, all of that good stuff. I was on there myself for the Derby preview, I believe it was. Yeah, everything's just mixing into one now. So go and check those videos out. Check the channel out. Like he said, follow them on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that good stuff. Don't forget as well to check out the Football News 365 app. Absolutely fantastic app for all of your latest Everton news, scores, fixtures. You can see the link in the description down below. If you download that, it helps out the channel as well. Ran by an Evertonian who's a fantastic lad, Dan, as well. And it's a brilliant app for all of your latest Everton news and stuff like that. So definitely go and check that out. Check Alfie out in the description. Anything to say before we finish up, Alf?
Lad, just thank you for everyone thanks for inviting me for first and foremost, Cam. Hopefully we'll get you on the channel soon again.
Defo.
So hopefully we'll just grow together and help each other out, yeah.
Defo. Well, like I said, it's been brilliant today. I've really enjoyed it, and you've been a fantastic guest. So I'd love to have you on again in the next coming, couple of weeks or so if you're free, and we'll talk more about the Toffee. So yeah, massive thanks to everybody for watching. Barry says thanks, lads. Cheers, Barry. You can see you buying up the Toffees. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. The normal guys having a little bit of a banter with everybody in the comments. He says Everton strengthens every year and what will happen at the end of the season, and he also says, but I really appreciate what you guys do, and he says lol, Liverpool will play. It's all friendly banter at the end of the day. Listen, if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments as per usual. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Massive thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. Don't forget as well, we just uploaded the second episode of our Minnesota United FC series where myself and Gort sit down and talk about the MLS and talk about Minnesota. So if you haven't checked that one out, please do so. It's something different. It's not Everton, but it's something a little bit different to chill us out during these very emotional times. But massive thank you. Big thanks to Alfie for getting on and joining us.
Cheers, everyone.
Usual.
Much appreciated.
Check out Alfie in the description and Everton Now, and go and subscribe to all of them. Big thanks for watching.
Nice one.
We'll see you soon. Up the Toffees, and Merseyside is blue.
Come on.
Up the Toffees. See you soon. Here we go.